Hello, Fifth. It's the Poo Guru. It is Wednesday, December the 27th, 2017. This is going to be the last video I do this year. Obviously, it's pretty close to the end of the year, so it'd be hard-pressed to make another video of any substance. I have gotten a little fuzzier. I do normally grow out my beard in the wintertime, help keep my face warm, so there is that. It's about 1:30 in the afternoon ish, so it's pretty freaking cold out here. I might take a few breaks in this video. I don't know. I tried one take on it already and it didn't go very well. I was all over the place. I didn't have it ordered quite like I wanted to, so this is actually my second take on this particular video. So the first one, dead silences and everything, it ended up being about an hour and a half, hour and 35 minutes long. So I would have had to edit out probably 20 minutes of it anyway, and then reordered everything, so it would have been a big mess. So I'm just going to redo it. So I scripted it, so you know, I've got a couple pages worth here. I went back through my previous videos of who is the Poo Guru. There's about a dozen or so, and as I was listening to myself tell my story, a few things came to mind. So I'll be sharing that first, and then I'll get into ooh, excuse me. It was delicious. I just had some yogurt. It was pretty good, actually. So after I get you caught up to speed with the ones that came from the deep archives of my memory, I will transition from my brother's trailer to the second house that I have owned in my lifetime, so to speak. So before I get into that, I think I'm going to go get some more coffee. So I'm going to pause right here for a moment. Alright, I'm back. Got a pot of coffee brewing, so that ought to keep me warm through the rest of this video. So let's go ahead and get you caught up on some of it. The earliest memory that I remembered from watching the videos, I was in Head Start. I was probably about 4 years old, and I was broken out of the routine during lunch. For some reason or another, I had been called to the office, I think it was. I don't remember why, but this was a scary part of my life. So my routine was broken up. You know, I had to go and put up my tray before the rest of the class and go to the office for whatever reason it was, and I freaked out. And instead of going to go put my tray up, I went outside the building and stood outside with my tray for like what seemed forever, which it was probably maybe a minute. I don't know. And somebody finally walked past, and I actually think I was crying. Which, I mean, you know, I'm a little 4-year-old kid, you know, in this particular situation, you know. Stuff like this didn't normally happen to me, so you know, it was brand new to me to a point, and I didn't know what to expect. It was pretty intense, you know. And I think somebody finally walked by, or one of the teachers walked out, and they're like, "What are you doing?" You know, and they're like, they helped me go put my tray up, and then they, you know, helped me go get to where I needed to be, and you know, life progressed on from there. When we were living in the projects, Um, I was probably 4 or 5 years old, maybe. Uh, I think one of the neighbors, or in the area on the block that we lived on, so to speak, there were several duplexes, maybe dozen duplexes on this one block before the next side street cut through. And one of the neighbor's kids, his little black boy, and we played, we had fun, and I remember having this metal construction toy that had, the big scoop on the front, and it had 4 tires instead of tracks like a bulldozer. It was different. I think it's called a front end loader, but I loved that thing, and I played with that thing and played with that thing, and somehow or another that memory is attached to, you know, like maybe me and that little black boy played with it together, made a sanding castle or something. Hell, I don't know. But, you know, those two memories kind of sit pretty close to each other from what, my timeline in my head goes from. Let's go skip a couple years. Still in the projects though. At that time when I was growing up, my mother had a female friend, adult female friend. I don't know if they hung out a lot. I don't know how they met, or what. All right. All right. So my mom had a friend, and she had a daughter. We grew up with a daughter, whatnot, for however many years it was. Well, my mom's friend had some family that lived, I don't know, a few blocks down. And I remember going to visit those people, and I don't remember what the visit was about or anything like that, but I remember not liking that place. It's just one of the memories, that's part of the story. So, I don't think I ever saw those people again after that one visit. Anyway, let's see. So I remember multiple times while I was in school having to miss school before and after I moved out of the projects, while I was, living with mom and stuff, getting bronchitis and strep throat a lot. Conditions that we lived in, I'm pretty sure contributed to that. Especially the bronchitis, because I mean, wasn't the most sanitary, and then the strep throat. I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure somehow or another it is passed on some way or another via contact, and I guess depending on the conditions, it could live for an indefinite amount of time. I don't know. Moving on. The next to youngest brother, I remember while we were still in the projects, he introduced me to a magnifying glass and sunlight and how it can be manipulated to catch things on fire. Basically concentrate the energy from the sun into a single point so that the energy is transmitted to the dried up grass or the ants or whatever else, eventually engulfed most of it in flames or made it a smoldering pile of mess. That was a fun memory. Nice. So while watching those videos, I'll periodically mention that there were other kids around, just acquaintances more than anything. They weren't any of them real friends, except for the best friend I had whenever I was a teenager, early teenager, preteen. So there was a kid while we were living in the projects. He lived probably 10 blocks or so down the road, and I don't remember right off the top of my head how we met or anything like that, but I was still young. I might have been 5 or 6 maybe, but I don't remember if I was down there by myself or, if it was one of the times when me and Mom went walking to the store and came back down that way and he just happened to be playing out by the road or something other. I don't know. But, I remember meeting him, and having a positive experience, if that makes sense. Da, 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 da. While we were still in the projects, I remember one of my brothers getting into a fight, and this was, for a young child, 4, 5, 6 years old maybe. This was a pretty traumatic experience because my brother came home and his face and everything was all bloodied and whatnot, and I'd never seen anything like this before, so it kind of freaked me out a little bit. Well, the brother that had gotten into the fight, he's got a hard head. Maybe he's just got dense bone structure. I don't know, but from what we understand, he's always had a hard head, kind of like me. Thick skulled. There you go. No, the other kid that he got in a fight with apparently punched my brother in the face and broke his hand. That just blows my mind. And my brother, all he got was like a cut lip and stuff. It swole up and whatnot. And a few days later, that was all gone. But the dude, my brother said he seen him a week or two later. He was still in a cast. Ladies and gentlemen, violence is not always the way. Every now and again, but we'll get into that later. My brother beat his ass with his face. Oh, goodness. Alright, so we're going to progress out of the projects and we're going to go to the trailer that's out in the country. Two brother memories back to back. We had a dog out there, and I don't remember the exact circumstances, but the dog, I think, was still a pup and had come from a litter where maybe there was another dog around that had rabies, so there was a possible chance of that. So I think one of my brothers had to take it down to the sand pit and put a bullet in the dog's head and bury it. Yeah, that was not a very positive memory, but there is one after that I remembered. Actually, two memories involving the same brother. One of them, I want to say I was at a Halloween party, and there was a girl there that one of my brothers called Missile Tits. I remember being at that party, and there was so much food there, and they sat me down at a table. I think that was the very first time I bobbed for apples, but they set me down at a table and put a plate of food, just munchy little things in front of me. And it seemed like there was this one girl there, probably 10 years older than I was. I was probably 5 or 6 maybe. And she's obviously a teenager, but this was a very loud environment, a lot of interaction there with other people, and I didn't really interact with very many people there. But every time I would eat something on my plate, this one girl would put the exact same thing of whatever it was back on my plate, and I think, it was like feeding a dog a treat. They'll find whichever one they want to eat the best, and they'll wait for that treat, leave the rest of them alone. It was crazy. And I think after about 2 or 3 of them, I was like, I don't want any more of these. Pretty funny. But that was a positive memory. I don't know if my brothers, who all was there or anything. It was like a Halloween party or something other that they took me to. That I don't know if Mama made me go with them or made them take me with them, or I wanted to go. I don't remember how it all worked out. I don't remember how we got there. I don't remember how we got home. You know, like I said, I was a little kid. Um, fast forwarding a little bit past that, the one of my brothers, I don't remember what the occasion was, but I think we were living out in the country, and he took me for a walk one day for some reason or another. But we ended up at a convenience store on the west side of town, going out Route 32, and he bought me food, and the food was delicious because it was I had, you know, I don't think I had ever had that kind of food before. I don't even remember what it was I ate, but it was fucking delicious, I'm pretty sure. And he bought me a comic book while I was there, and it was kind of a strange comic book. You know, it had some strange characters in it. It's pretty science fiction-y. And I love that, man. That was pretty freaking cool. You know, I treasured that comic book for quite a while. I don't remember exactly what happened to it, but it didn't survive many years with me. Kind of sucks. I still wish, you know, I had the damn thing. Anyway, speaking of food, I remember while we were living in the projects, they had a friend that had a car, and the friend was a pretty rotund fella from how I remember him. Not even sure if the dude's still alive, but if he is, you know, I hope he's doing well. But he had a car, and I remember going to another city south of where I grew up, and with one of my brothers and stuff, to the movies, and we went to a buffet. I don't remember. It was like a Golden Corral or something to that effect. You know, it was a buffet type place, but it had all kind of different foods. It wasn't, you know, I don't remember what kind of buffet it was, but my eyes were way bigger than my stomach at that time. Good gracious, I did get to try a whole lot of stuff. I think that was what the kicker was. I got to try a whole lot of stuff. But, you know, I remember also going to the beach and watching the second, yeah, it was the second Terminator movie came out whenever this happened. My brother took me to the beach, and we had a good old time. I think we stayed in a hotel that time. You know, I guess he took pity on me, maybe, or he just wanted me to have a better life. You know, wanted me to experience some things because I didn't have that many friends that I could go hang out with, maybe. I don't know what his reasoning was, but I'm glad he did it. You know, he gave me some positive memories to add to my story. So, all right, so up to went with a long walk, went to the convenience store, food, comic book. That was a good memory. I'll switch over to some school memories when I come back from getting me some coffee. Alright, you heathens, I'm back. That coffee's pretty dang good too. So we're going to talk a little bit about school memories that have come back up, and there's been a few that I've already told you on this particular video that weren't even on this. They kind of popped up as I was talking about certain things. You know, certain memories kind of, hey, jog my memory, right? Delicious. So 4th grade. was on the playground, and skinny blonde-headed kid. He's a little bit older than I was. I don't remember why I was antagonizing this guy, but I guess he was just being a dick. Which if I remember right, he was an arrogant prick in my book. So, I just antagonized him, and I don't know if I was looking for a fight or what, but he come over there and he punched me in the face. He cleaned my clock for me pretty good, and everybody laughed. I was humiliated as fuck. And we argued or said something other but cross words, and then he left. Same playground, same era. I was doing something by myself, and a teacher come up behind me, I think while I was hanging upside down, and was trying to tell me to get down or something other, and I said, "Quit, damn it." And I turned around and looked, and I was like, "Oh shit, it's a teacher." I think the first time I ever really, cussed around at an authority figure. I didn't get no trouble about it, but anyway, just a memory that popped up. Let's see. Here's one. Alright, had a little hiccup. Gonna try to edit this seamlessly as possible. Anyway, I ran out of memory on my phone. I forgot to check it before I started this video. Alright, so Roach Motel. I'm going to pick up with that memory. I was riding my bike on the side street, and I had built like some kind of makeshift ramp, and I went to go jump it and failed miserably, flipped over the ramp, and head first over the front tire, kind of just did this whole roll thing. And when everything fell into place, was falling into place and whatnot, the bicycle landed, the handlebars landed on my neck. And I remember blacking out for a split second. That's probably the closest thing I've ever had to being knocked out, other than by, like drugs in a surgery or something other, or drinking too much and passing out after a few moments of just sitting still. Roach Motel again, another memory there. There was two brothers that lived down the road from us, and I don't remember how I knew them, but we hung out a little bit, and they were a rough bunch, and I ended up getting into a fight with one of them, and it was at the Roach Motel on that same street, and me and one of the brothers was fighting. Don't remember what about, but eventually he started getting the better of me, the upper hand, and mom come out there with a broom and run him off. Leave it to mama to embarrass the living dog shit out of me, but I could have got my ass beat up pretty bad. Hell, I don't know. I don't know how far that kid would have took it. But, let's see. What's the next one after that? When I was like 11 or 12 years old, somebody approached me and asked me if I was bisexual. Probably because I was hanging out with my best friend at the time so much. I just wanted to get away from home because I didn't like where I was living. Am I bisexual? No. No, I don't have anything any kind of sexual feelings towards guys at all. Um, Women do it for me. That's all I'm gonna say. Uh, that's just a memory that popped up. You know. Um, let's see. Around fifth grade, I think, was whenever I had my first official girlfriend, and she was a nice girl. She approached me. Um, she gave me a necklace. She approached me, and I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll be your boyfriend." And she wasn't the prettiest girl in school, and a lot of the other kids didn't really care for her. Not that they didn't necessarily not like her, you know what I'm saying, but they just, eh. And she was one of the outcasts, I guess you could say, or what would have been. But I gave in to peer pressure and I broke it off with her. Um, if I'd have resisted peer pressure, it makes me wonder how my life would have been different now. Just something neat to think about on occasion. But yeah, I gave in to peer pressure and I broke it off with her. That's a dick move. All right, moving on to my next one. Let's see. Like I said, I was hanging out with my best friend at the time. A whole lot, and there was an elementary school not far from the house, and there were a couple of events that happened down there. One of them, we got on the roof, and we're just checking things out. We were just being kids, and we got on the roof, and the cops came by and they found us somehow or another. I don't remember, somebody called or what, who knows. But I mean, we didn't really get into any major trouble or anything. They got us. They were nice about it. They seen that we were just kids, just being kids. And I don't know if we officially got into any kind of trouble or not, but they said we were on probation for like 6 months or some shit. It's possible. I don't know. I mean, I think the laws were a little bit different back then. But anyway, another event that happened there was with bicycles, and there was some unfinished areas in the elementary school where big old piles of dirt had been left from like the construction and everything, and we would jump those hills and have a good old time riding around and whatnot. And I jumped one of them one time and I missed my landing. I come off that bicycle and I hit my knee square on the freaking ground. That sucker swole up. It was sore for a few days. I didn't break anything, I don't think. I limped home on it by like a mile, and it hurt. It sucked. Just one of the memories, though. Another event with a bicycle. Another fail. Pretty close to that same time period, a different bicycle, I believe, because whenever I jumped that hill, I believe I broke my bicycle. Not 100% sure. I think that's why I didn't ride it home. That's why I limped home. My damn bicycle was broken. No, there was a bigger hill down a road that was actually paved, and yes, go ahead and cringe because this is a bad idea. Don't do it. We put a ramp at the bottom of the hill so we could get some speed and jump it. Needless to say, I got scared right at last minute, hit my front brakes, flipped over the bicycle, got a nasty scar on my arm from road rash. The bicycle landed on me, and with the same momentum, I pushed the bicycle off of me. And managed not to get any more hurt than I did. I'm surprised I haven't had any broken bones by now. Really, I am. As malnutritioned as I was growing up, I'm surprised I didn't have, more injuries than I actually got. Uh, well, let's see. Same time frame, middle school, late middle school, early high school era. Uh, kind of in the same area too. um, I could walk to school back then, and there was a couple brother. There was another set of brothers, and they were they were known to be bullies and just bad people. And I got into a fight one time walking home with my best friend. Not with my best friend. I was walking home with my best friend, and I got into a fight with the older of the two brothers that were bullies. He had me by about 70 pounds, 80 pounds. If I was a $110 soaking wet back then, that was heavy. My friend pulled him off of me one or two times. I was like, damn, I couldn't ever get the best of him. Oh well. I ended up running away from that one too because, wasn't nothing I could do. I mean, I was physically unable to do anything. He was bigger, stronger. I don't know about smarter, but anyway. I tried to avoid them. They terrorized me for quite some time. A couple years, I believe. Before I'd had enough or something or other. I don't remember what happened. Might be one of the reasons right now. I mean, I'm not going to take no shit off nobody mood. I think by the time I finish this video series, you'll have a pretty good idea of why I just said that. It's not that I don't care about everything. There are things I do care about, but anyway. Bullies are going to be bullies. Same time frame. I'm about 13 years old, 12 years old, somewhere around there. Still cutting grass and whatnot for the, these people, the elderly people for the most part. Some of them are grouchy, but you know what? It is what it is. So while I was doing all this yard work for these people, I was having to haul my lawnmower behind my bicycle, and it was wearing out my fucking lawnmower. It was wearing me out too, and it was kind of unsafe. There was at least once or twice where a lawnmower got away from me and almost hit something. Yeah. Well, in the midst of all this, I decided to build a wagon that would attach to the bicycle that I could pull the lawnmower in. It wasn't going to be very big. I mean, maybe a 2-foot by 3-foot wagon. I didn't have very thick boards. I scraped together some big wheels off of something else, like another lawnmower or some kind of other cart, and a few pieces of wood here and there, and I managed to somehow put this fucking thing together. There was a couple parts that I had to have welded together to make it all fit right. Well, up until this point, I had never been exposed to any kind of welding except maybe briefly seeing it on TV or something other. Had to have stuff welded, and I was like, how do I do this? Well, my friend luckily knew a guy that was a pretty good welder. He took a clothes hanger and a welding machine. I guess he TIG welded it, now that I think about it, with the clothes hanger, and welded it together for us. He charges like, I don't know, 15, 20 bucks to do it. But, it was, that wagon lasted for quite some time before I think the wood finally, or maybe the axle finally gave up its ghost. Like 12, 13 years old coming up with this shit, That's with just my survival instincts, thinking outside the box, kicking in, How can I improve my situation? How can I make it easier for me? How can I make it safer? And it was good exercise for me too, because I was riding the bicycle, pulling the cart. Granted, they probably make stuff like that would have been a lot better, but it probably would have cost a lot more money. But at the same time, nowadays you don't see kids doing shit like that. It's a whole different era now. I mean, if I was at least 13 years old, that was 23 years ago. How's that make you feel? Alright, moving on. So, living in a house where mom abandoned me for the month. Progressing to there now. There was the church group that I was involved with had some kind of camp retreat thing, and I went to it with the church people, and I met a girl that was from a couple towns over, maybe 60 miles away. I don't know. I never did go see her. I'll get more into that later. But this is an especially eventful memory for me. So, we went through the whole retreat thing. Me and this girl, we talked, we got to know each other, and, we had a good time. And she gave me her phone number to call her after we left the retreat. And I did. I tried to call her. Well, she gave me, the 10-digit phone number, but at this time, to call long distance into another city, I didn't know you had to press a 1 before those next 10 digits. That was how familiar I was with a telephone at that time, about 13, 14 years old. I tried to call her by just using the 10 digits. It kept going doo-doo-doo, give you that funky tone. The number you have dialed is no longer in service. And the recording. I got so mad. I gave up. I got so mad I gave up. It was just like, and later on, a few days later, somebody asked me if I had gotten in touch with that girl from the camp retreat thing. I said, yeah, I tried to call her, but, the number didn't work or something, da-da-da-da-da-da. So they schooled me on how to use a phone. Let me let the dog in. Alright, so I finally understood how to use the telephone. So I got in contact with this girl, and we talked a lot. Now, mind you, back then they charged you for long distance. I'm not sure exactly what long distance would be considered now. Maybe Mars. Hell, I don't know. So, if you're using a landline, which is a phone that's connected to a cable from one place to another, via some sort of wire, that's what we call a landline for you younger folks. So on a landline, it would actually cost you more than if you used a phone card. Now, a phone card is something similar to if you get one of those prepaid cell phone services. You buy the card and you put the minutes on it, and you get charged so many cents per minute. Same concept, but instead of using it with your cell phone, you used it at a payphone, which you could either put money in it and talk to somebody, or you could use this 1-800 number phone card thing and get charged less to call long distance than if you were using the landline at home. So, and then on top of that, you know, she probably didn't pay the bill and got it cut off. So I started using phone cards. I had to use my money that I was making at cutting grass and cropping the tobacco. To buy these phone cards for this girl. Now, she was a couple towns over, and we found out that our football teams at our schools were going to be playing each other at my school. And so, you know, we set it up to meet there, and she, somehow or another, I think I asked her if she wanted me to get her anything special or anything like that, or if there was, I don't remember, but somehow I ended up getting her a black rose because that's what she wanted. Kind of weird, but hey, you know what? I went with it. And florist kind of gave me a funny look, but you know, I explained the situation and everything. But you know, we met up at the football game, and hung out, and you know, we talked more after that, and then I don't remember what happens after that. But I mean, that was a pretty good memory, you know, of an almost girlfriend. Moving on. All right, let's jump ahead a little bit. I am joined up. No. I am almost ready to leave to go to the military. It's the winter months, 2002, 2003. And things were getting bad with the first ex-wife. So I ended up, you know, instead of going to jail, which I didn't, I went to jail anyway. Instead of, you know, letting shit just get bad, I moved out into my mom's house, trailer at the time, with the man that she was living with, a fella that I don't think it was from America. Anyway, Mom had animals. I'm pretty sure it was a stray cat or something or other that just showed up, or who the hell knows what it was, but I had a litter of kittens, and one of them had a deformity. And again, Mom didn't have the money to take it to the vet to have it either fixed or euthanized, so somehow or another I got goat roped into taking the kitten which wasn't very big. It was still pretty damn small. I don't remember how old they were, but I took the kitten outside with a shovel and found a place to take a big rock and take care of it. So, yeah, another one of the horrors. That's that memory. Moving on a little bit, just to kind of give you an idea, whenever I joined up and went into the Navy, I think I was about 125, 35 pounds soaking wet. I was a skinny little shit. They said for my height and build, I should be probably 180, 185, somewhere around there to be, you know, at my optimum weight. Ooh-wee, Bobby, ooh-wee. When I got into the Navy and I got onto the ship, there was a company that came on the ship from over around England or Great Britain or something other, and they were doing ancestry type stuff. They would take your last name and information they could get from you, and they would research, and they had a package where you could get a plaque, and depending on how far back they could go, they got, some people, you know, got different things, but I was of Scottish descent, so there was a clan sword and a clan coat of arms shield replicas that they could get for me, and it was $1,000 package, and I got it. So I thought that was pretty neat, and I've now got that shield tattooed on my back. So just throwing that little tidbit in there for you. And I think that is the last memory that I pulled from the videos that I watched. So let me check on everything real quick. Still rolling. Okay. All right, so pause it here for a second. All right, ladies and germs, had a brief pause. Got to readjust here. Hang on. Make sure everything's good to go. There we go. All right, now you can see me. I don't care if I see you. So while I was living at my brother's trailer and doing the whole firewood thing, I may have mentioned that I met someone that has rental properties, and I still keep in contact with this person on occasion. Well, during the course of all this, let's see. Damn, it's cold out here. Whew. During the course of this next video, I'm going to refer to this person as the landlord, just for reference sake, just because, you know, it's the easiest thing to relate to the story. So let's see. I'm getting ready to move out of my brother's house. This will be late 2010. Back up. This will be early 2010 whenever I move into the house and whenever I buy it and everything. Late 2010 is whenever I got married for the third time. Alright, so early 2009, I get into the Union, living at my brother's. Early 2008, I get out of the Navy. I'm regressing just a little bit here. So early early 2008, I got out of the Navy and made my transition from military to civilian from Virginia, where I was stationed, to my brother's house in northwest Georgia. I moved there because he knew somebody in the Union. You know, it almost a direct translation from what I was doing in the military to, you know, what I would be doing in the Union to a point. So met my third wife while I was living there. Found the house not far away that I would buy, and let's see, that's early 2010. Later in 2010, got married. Okay, all right, so I can go back to my notes now, and let's see. All right, so my ex's credit was pretty shitty. Mine, I had rebuilt while I was in the military from my first ex, and all that shenanigans. You know, had a lot of stuff paid off. Pretty much had my truck paid off. You know, I was helping her get some stuff paid off. I've always been pretty good getting stuff paid off early. You'll I've still got more examples that I'll probably fill in later on. Change hands. Let's see, so her credit sucked, so my credit was pretty good because I had rebuilt it while I was in the military. Made good decisions, you know, paid stuff off in a timely manner, paid stuff off completely. Kept some revolving credit, which is a bad idea. I'll get into that later, if I can decipher the shit. It's getting cold out here, folks. Sorry, I'm fidgeting a lot. I'm just getting cold. So I couldn't put her name on the house without it being detrimental to, you know, what kind of credit loan we could get in a mortgage. Considering I was prior military, I got a VA loan. Fuck that up. So I got the house in my name only. The guy that was representing the guy that owned the house, we decided to let him represent us. You know, let him get his little chunk. He was a nice guy. You know, he took us around to all kind of houses to look around, you know, before we finally decided on that one. And I'm pretty sure he went above and beyond what he was supposed to do. And I appreciate the hell out of that. At this time, I was in the apprenticeship in late 2010. I'd already been in about a year and a half. I was in my second year. In my second year, I remember being in waist-deep gravel pits, running pipe in 17-degree weather. Not pleasant. My foreman at the time was a big asshole, and it showed a lot of people. He didn't treat his apprentices, including me, which I was a second-year apprentice at the time, very well. And one of the journeymen had already made note of this and called the hall about it. And I took it upon myself to let my foreman know how I felt about him in the middle of lunch in front of everybody one day, because he was making fun of me about the size of the sandwich that I was eating. Hey, it was like Thanksgiving. I had big old thick slices of ham, you know, on 3 slices of bread. And hey, I was hungry. I was working hard. I needed energy. He was just an asshole, and he made fun of a lot of people, including the apprentices. Bad on the apprentices, and not the journeymen so much, because some of them would just tell them to go get fucked. Pretty much like I did. Middle of lunch, I grabbed my sandwich. I was like, "You want my fucking sandwich? You fucking fuck here, eat my fucking sandwich. Fuck you, you can't have my fucking sandwich. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna eat my fucking sandwich." Oh, I was livid. I went off on his ass, and I ate my fucking sandwich. Then a couple of the big wigs from the hall showed up. We talked about it. You know, they gave me a slap on the wrist for if that other guy hadn't already called, that'd have been my ass. They'd have probably kicked me out. But at the same time, I seen that same guy that I cussed out later after I turned out as a journeyman, and he was still an asshole. I stayed away from him just because I could, because I was a journeyman. I didn't have to work with him. So, progressing past that. Ooh, it's getting chilly. Apprenticeship is going well, making great grades. I did throughout the entire apprenticeship. I made really good grades. I applied myself as best I could. I got a master plumber's license out of it. I got a master gas fitter's license out of it. I got all kinds of training out of it that I wanted to use to better my life. And I'll get into more of that later. Things were looking up money-wise, we were upgrading things. We were getting things paid off. Ladies and gentlemen, we were climbing out of the fucking hole. She was working at the inventory company. She had made management, doing well. And not long, well, actually, probably during the course of all this, my gallbladder became diseased, and around Christmas time of 2010, I believe it was, yeah, Christmas time of 2010, I had my gallbladder removed. It was an interesting time. Let's see. Later on after that, in early 2011, some bad storms came through the area and tore up a whole bunch of shit. And I had one of those pre-made sheds that they deliver to your property off the back of a flatbed truck, and they kind of set it up on a few blocks. And had moved it from my brother's trailer where we originally set it up, and moved it to the house that I had bought. And perfect placement for circumstances, because right on the other side of it was a tree that it would take probably 2.5 of me to wrap my arms around. This thing was freaking huge. And the storms came through, and because of the placement of the shed and because of the way the tree fell, the shed kept it from destroying the house completely. And during this event, when the tree actually, one of the big limbs did hit it, and it did poke a hole in the roof. Tore up a whole bunch of stuff, cosmetically to a point. Nothing structural that, we saw. But during this event, the third wife was in the house. I want to say she said she was taking a shower or had just gotten out of the shower. Now, when I tell you the rest of the story about the third ex-wife, keep in mind this thought. If I'd have moved that shed just 5 feet one way or the other, it makes me wonder how the rest of this story would have went. Anyway, so she said it scared the living hell out of her. And the insurance we had on the house was pretty good. So we decided that we were going to take that and use that to our advantage to make some upgrades on the house. If they're going to replace it with something of equal value, might as well just go ahead and get something better so that, you know, if we plan on staying here for 30 years, it'll pay off. So we got better windows out of the deal. We got siding with insulation on it, which helped tremendously. The windows were those double pane, 90% argon filled, UV for reflecting, fancy ass windows. Nice. We got new gutters out of the deal. We got a brand new roof with the architectural 50-year shingles out of the deal, and a few other odds and ends. The back deck got a little damage, and the shed got upgraded. Okay. All right. So at this point, I have been working off and on with the union for about 2 years, close to 2 years. I have known the landlord for almost 3 years now, a little over 2.5 years at this point. Now, the landlord has various talents that went a long way with what I knew as well. I got a new shed out of the deal, and I took it upon myself to invest in building this shed myself. With the landlord's help, because of their skills and my skills together, we got most of the shed erected, and the landlord and I were in a disagreement on something. I think it was aesthetics more than anything. I was just wanting practical, and they wanted to go lavish, and so I said no, and my brother and I finished it. So the landlord helped me with the shed upgrade. Let's see. And I basically tripled the size of that shed. I went from like a 10 by 20 maybe, or 10 by 15, to at least a 16 by 20 with double lofts, double doors opening up to the shed itself. I put a bathroom in that shed. I had an area that I was going to set up for welding in that shed. I had the badass workbench that, you know, saved everything that was in the first shed that I didn't tell you about yet. The one that I made from dimensional lumber that is actually 2 inches by 4 inches, not this bullshit they call a 2x4 nowadays. I had made a badass workbench in that first shed. That's what saved. It pushed that workbench through the floor. Yeah, that's what saved everything on that one. So that badass workbench survived too, by the way. So I put it in there. You know, I had shelves in there going on, had power run to it, had water run to it, had sewer run to it. That's making a lot of progress. And I think somewhere around that time, one of the union guys I was working with turned me onto a specific magazine that had a lot of interesting articles in it, you know, resource-based things like how to grow earthworms and, you know, how to make compost and how to build a garden. And I got interested into it, and I started doing things around the house. I got rain barrels for the house. I started making compost. I made a garden. I'll mention that more later. Getting ahead of myself a little bit. So everything was going good. We started getting upgrades on the house and everything, and life was, you know, John and Jane Smith, married couple. Hey, everything was grade A for best I could, for the most part, you know. So we started talking about kids, and she told me, she's like, I don't think I can have kids. Okay, why don't we, you know, start doing a little bit of research and find out, you know, what it would take to find out if you can have kids. A couple months later, you know, we had a doctor's appointment set up, and we went and talked to a fertility specialist, you know, about our options. And so we got in there talking to this person, and it's like, you know, look, she says she doesn't think she can have kids. We're like, okay, well, let's tell you your options first. You know, if you're looking to go the cheaper route, we can test you first. She was talking to me. She said, you know, you just give us a sample of your semen in a cup, and, you know, we'll test it, and cost you about $100, $180. Okay, what about her options? Well, her options, to really get a definite answer, probably start at about $35,000. I almost died. Oh my God. And so we started talking about my options. So he's like, okay, look, $180 versus $35,000. That's a no-brainer. All right, let's start with me. So we'll go ahead and test me. So we set up the appointment. Did the deed, come back, got the results, you know, like a week later or whatever it took. And they said it was strange. They said it's rare to see this. Usually, if guys are having a hard time getting a woman pregnant, there's usually dead sperm and live sperm. You know, it's just depends on the numbers too. You know, well, they said they didn't see any, no living or dead ones, and like, okay, so we went and talked to the specialist again, and we're like, okay, look, well, maybe we're human, maybe we screwed up the test somehow. So we asked the specialist, well, all right, we'll pay to have the test done again. So we went through the whole process one more time. The exact same results. Absolutely nothing. Well, that's kind of a showstopper, folks. It bothered me for a while. You know, and we still talked about kids, and we talked about our options. The next option is one of a few things: a donor, there's adoption, and there's fostering. So she looked into these options, and the whole donor option, you know, they said that they could do a couple surgeries on me because I had went to a urologist after we found out that I had nothing. I went to a urologist and found out that I have an enlarged vein on my left testicle that has stunted the growth of both of my testicles. And it's probably been there since I was a kid. And, you know, I was 27, 8-ish. Yeah, or 28 maybe, whenever I found out this. So, you know, the damage had been done for a long time. So we decided that, you know, to forego any extra debt, which the whole process, you know, for them to get 100% sure on me, and if you know, if needed be, get a donor and get her set up. I think after to really get her pregnant, probably years worth of money and time, probably over $100,000. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't have a mommy or a daddy or a grandparent with bootcoodles of money to go run to and ask for all this kind of shit. She didn't either. She had grandparents that had a little bit of money, but they didn't have that kind of fucking money. And I wasn't going to let them do that. So I vetoed the whole fucking works. So we looked into the next couple options, which was adoption and fostering. And adoption, I'm really glad we didn't go that route, because that's permanent. A lot more permanent than fostering. So we decided to go through the fostering, and about 6 months or so worth of training and classes and horror stories and eye-opening. Just wow. It shows you the real world to a degree. All right, we finally went through the process and we got certified, and in early, late spring 2012, I think we were certified. Yeah, late spring 2012 we were certified. Late summer was when we got our first set of permanent siblings. Let me check the stuff real quick. It's still looking good. So we got our first set of siblings. There was 3 of them. We had them for a little while through Christmas. At this point, you know, union work's going well, still making good grades. Yeah, union work's going pretty good. Money's looking good. So we got all these kids. We ended up with 5 teenagers, and we ended up needing more room. So I was like, all right, let's convert part of the basement garage area into a bedroom or 2. So the landlord, with their almighty skills, helped me again with that project. We built a bedroom and a storage room down in the basement with plans to completely finish out the basement eventually. did a lot of improvements to the house, you know, after it got beat up and whatnot. Uh, got the foster kids, union work's going good. I'm not going to talk a lot about the foster kids. I'm going to just move on to Father's Day of 2013. Up until that point, pretty much everything with the kids was going great up until Father's Day of 2013. And pause here for just a minute. All right, where was I? Let's see. Father's Day. Yeah. So that's the day that we lost the kids. It's kind of just, I'm gonna give you a quick rundown of what happened. We did the whole Father's Day thing. They gave me a couple presents and whatnot. And then later on that afternoon, it was pretty early in the afternoon actually, we decided to have a wrestling tournament. Just cause. And me and the wife started wrestling, and I kept winning. You know, I wasn't really trying to be an asshole about it. I was just winning. And she got mad because I wouldn't let her win. And so when she started getting mad, I was just like, all right, look, I'm done. I'm walking away. And she wouldn't let me walk away. I tried to get away multiple times. She wasn't having it. Yeah. At one point, I can't remember what happened, but I kept trying to get away and kept trying to get away and kept trying to get away, and she just wouldn't let me get away. She just wouldn't let it go. And then I think she did something. She shoved me or something other, and I just freaking snapped. I tried to grab her and drag her out of the house. She went limp on me, fell on the floor, so I grabbed her foot and I started trying to drag her out of the house. She started trying to scramble to get up, and I just the kids were already scared to death, already outside, and I could hear them screaming, and then I just let out this god-awful sound come out of me. Get the hell out of my house. And I mean, I was trying to drag her out, and she's like, I'm gonna call 911, I'm gonna call the police. I'm like, as soon as you do, better go to the kids. Is that what you want? She was freaking the fuck out. I said, you've got the phone, go ahead and call them if that's what you gotta do. But get the fuck out of my house. And she freaked out and she called the cops. And the second that she pushed that fucking send button, kids was gone. No takebacks. No do-overs. No uh-ohs. As soon as you call them cops, that's it, they're gone. No ifs, ands, buts about it. Close the house down by do not pass go, do not collect code, $200. Somebody's going to jail. Guess what? As soon as she called the cops, I said, well, guess I might as well get comfortable. They're fixing to haul me off to jail because I didn't do a damn thing. So I was in basketball shorts, I think, something to that degree, house shoes, a white t-shirt, and I think I had my ID on me, and a house key, maybe. I don't remember. Got there. The cops finally got there. I was sitting on the couch drinking sweet tea, waiting on them. Hey, come in. I did exactly what he asked me to do, you know, making sure I wasn't hiding no weapons or nothing. So, you know, got up. He made me sit around, da 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 da. And he asked me what happened. I told him pretty much the exact same damn thing I just told you. And pretty much the exact same fucking thing that I've told everybody else since then. So he's like, you know, we got to take one of y'all to jail, right? He's like, yeah, I know. Been getting shit on all my life. No fucking wonder I become a plumber. So I knew it was me going to jail. So I went with him in the police car, went to jail. I just sat there. And a few hours later, they found out that, you know, they would probably get the judge to drop the charges against me. But the kids were gone. There was no taking that back. The caseworker that we had was there, you know. The next day, I was taken before the judge for my arraignment, and they got the charges dropped against me. They let me go. I come home to an empty house with the wife. It's just me and her. After a while, she got lonely again and needed to fill that fucking hole, so her brother and his daughter came to live with us. I tried to object to it, but I eventually gave in, like I always did. Even that didn't make her happy. I'm pretty sure this woman was mad at the world for no fucking reason. That's the only conclusion I can make. So her brother and his daughter stayed there. This was late 2013. They were there through Christmas. Let's see. Wait a minute. This is where things get weird. They moved in, and she still wasn't, she didn't want to be at the house or something other. She wanted to get out of the house, so she wanted to go back to work. I wasn't sure about that, but she went ahead and did it. She went back to work. And things almost settled down, and something other happened. There had to have been some kind of event that happened. I don't know. But she decided she wanted to move out. She needed some space or something other. So one of the employees that she was working with at the time was living in an apartment complex, and there was an apartment available over there close to this person. And damn, it's cold out here. She moved out into that apartment, left her brother and his daughter there with me. I tried to work things out. I tried to give her some time. I tried to give her some space. I tried to give her what she wanted, but again, this is the woman. Nothing made her happy. I don't know. I really tried to work things out with her. Up to the point that I was going through some stuff on the computer, and her Facebook and her email was open on it. So I kind of just casually browsed through it, and the stuff that I found in there was pretty much what I expected. Even after that, to a point, I still tried to work things out a little bit, but she wasn't having it. She wasn't having. She just wanted to be free, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what she wanted. I'm not sure she knew. So I was like, well, if you're not going to come back anytime soon, you need to come get your animals. Specific, I think she had already gotten the dog. No, I don't know. There was 2 dogs and a cat. I know specifically it had to do with the cat. I was like, you got to come get your cat. So I'm not taking care of your cat anymore. So my hands are cold. That day, when she came over, she was furious. I made her come and get her cat. And we had an argument. And I confronted her about the stuff that I had found on Facebook and I had found in the email. And she got mad. And she open palm hit me across the left side of my face. And when she did, that was it. I was done. Because that was the agreement whenever we first got together. That was one of the things, that we talked about. Are there any stipulations? Don't hit me in my face. And she broke that fucking rule. That's it. We're done. So she got in her shit and she left shortly thereafter. Run over one of the trees I had planted in the yard, killed it. Tire marks in the driveway. 20 minutes later, when the cops showed up after I had called, because I was pressing charges. I pressed charges. The handprint was still visible enough to the cop that he was like, yeah, we'll press charges. So we did. And I don't know if it was the next night or if it was the night after. I wasn't at the house. and somebody called me and was like, hey, you know, she's here. So I called the cops, and I met the cops there, and I told them, I was like, she's got a warrant out for her arrest. Arrest her. She's on the property. Oh, what the cop that was talking to me was a fucking asshole. He treated me like shit. You gonna arrest this woman? Yeah. She's not supposed to be here. There's a warrant out for her arrest. Arrest her. I mean, really, what do you want me to fucking say? You're not going to stop them from, you're not going to mess with this car. We're going to leave it here. Okay. You're not going to stop them from coming to get the car. Okay. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. Why are you being an asshole? Dude. Anyway. So, she's in jail, like, overnight. She gets out at, like, noon or something other the next day or something to that effect. And the thing about this person in the apartment I didn't tell you was this person was a guy. So she's living over there in this apartment complex, you know, a couple apartments away from this guy that she's working with. And there's a lot of pictures with this guy in you know, public settings where she was hanging out with him. You do the math, folks. Anyway, this guy from the apartment complex that she's working with and her brother got her out of jail, and this guy rode with her brother to the house and picked up the car. Are you fucking kidding me? It's okay though, because this is on her criminal record now. The first. I de-virginized her criminal record. Ha! I don't know if she's got anything else on there yet. Don't care. But this guy came and picked up the car, and we lived on a dead-end street, and the car was pointed towards the dead end, and it was a little bit down the ways before you got to the dead end from our house. I almost seen it happen. I heard him get into the car, and I seen him take off down towards the dead end. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And then I seen the brother's truck take off from the house. They were trying to do a drop and dash. I called him though. I was there. As soon as I heard him take off down the dead end road, I stepped outside on the front porch. I heard him get to the end of it. I heard him turn around. I heard him speed on past by, and as soon as I knew he was coming by, I put my hand up and I started waving to him. And I said, sure enough, her brother will be back in about 30 minutes. And then I'm going to have to tell him that he's got to take his 4, 5, 6-year-old daughter, whatever, somewhere else, because they can no longer stay there because they're not welcome. Well, I just checked my camera, and it seems like I've lost light at some point, so I'm going to stop it here and pick up whenever I've got more daylight. Someone probably tomorrow morning. I'll update on the date. Anyway, till part 2. Poo Guru out. Alright, fifth. It's the Poo Guru again. I'm back. I've got more light this time. I'm here to finish up the Who is Poo Guru series up to 2017. This will be the last video I'll make of this year. It might be a little choppy. It's last couple days and last couple times I've tried to film it, it's been pretty dang cold. It is Thursday, December the 28th. It's probably about 12:30, 12:45 a.m. p.m. Sorry, just a little bit after lunch. There we go. And last time I looked at the temperature, it was 25 degrees outside. So I'm probably going to do a little bit, take a little break, go warm up. So you might see some jumps in the video, but other than that, it's not going to change the story. The story is what it is. So again, this is finishing up Who is the Poo Guru series, getting you up to date basically. And I am the Poo Guru. Don't let anybody tell you different. If they do, they're lying to you. Keep them people close. Keep your friends a little bit further away from them. You'll understand why I say that later on down the road, but if you think about it, you'll understand it sooner, hopefully. So, I left off, they had come and pick up the ex's car. The guy from the apartment complex that she was working with and her brother. So her brother showed back up, and I told him pretty much, you know, that if you're going to stay here, you're going to not do that kind of shit. You know, you're not going to enable her and you know, he took it like a man, and he gathered up enough stuff, and he took off with his daughter that night. He didn't argue with me. He knew I was right, but I knew he was protecting his family. That's why there wasn't a big shit about it. We handle that shit like adults. It makes you wonder what the rest of the world would be like if people handled their shit like adults. Anyway, alright, so during this process, I found out that the state that I was living in, Georgia, at that time had a law that if somebody stays at your house so many nights and they become a resident, so to speak, and they have rights to the house, oh goodness, it's cold. That wind is bad. Well, over the course of the next month, let's see. At some point during this, I was unemployed from the union. Let's see, April I would have turned out as a journeyman. It was before then. This is 2014. Make sure I tell you guys right. I don't want to. Yeah. All right. So between April and May, things got really bad, and later on into May, things took a turn for the worse. She found out, or she started to exploit the law in my eyes. She used it to her advantage. Um, I'll put my gloves on here in a second. Hang on. She decided that she was going to come back to the house and live. Well, like I said, at this time I was not employed, and I did what I had to do. And when she came back to try to live in the house, there was a lot of stuff that was no longer in the house. I had to keep the lights on, I had to pay the bills, etc., you know, stuff like that. Man's got to do what a man's got to do. She got mad. She's like, you sold all of my shit and this and that and the other, da-da-da-da-da-da. You know, if she'd have really cared about that shit that she left at the house, she wouldn't have left it there. Don't give me that bullshit. Oh, I couldn't get a bigger apartment. And what the fuck did you move out for in the first place? Doesn't matter. Her shit was gone. I say it was her shit. She said it was her shit. It was a marriage. We both invested into that stuff. I had to keep the house going in the hope that, you know, I could make it. That house was in my name. I was responsible for it. I had to do that. Go ahead and pass judgment if you want to. I don't give a shit. So when she came back, it was towards the evening. I guess she had been working or something other, and she'd got off work. And she came back and says, you know, she had sent me a text prior to that. She's like, you know, get ready, I'll be your new roomie. This bitch tried to take over the master bedroom. Have you lost your fucking mind? I'm going to go to sleep. Not in this bed, you ain't. There's the 2 other bedrooms in there. You better get the fuck out of here. You just need to leave. That's what I kept telling her. You need to leave. You need to leave. You need to leave. Yeah. She wouldn't leave. And I don't know 100% if this was her goal, but I'm pretty sure, you know, because I've had quite a bit of time to think about it and, you know, get over this shit. And making these videos is going to help me get over this shit. It'll get it out of my chest, off my chest, out of my mind, and, you know, down permanent somewhere where I can forget about it. And if I need to, I can go back to it, you know. Basically like taking a picture of my memories. So I'm pretty sure that it was her intent to get me so frustrated and so angry that I beat the shit out of her or something the equivalent thereof and got put in jail for a long time. She wanted me put away. I'm pretty sure. Well, guess what, bitch? Haha, that shit didn't work. That night, she tried to sleep in the master bedroom. I wasn't having it. I kept the lights on. She kept trying to turn them off. I kept turning them on. So eventually I would pull the fucking covers off of the bed. Never touched her. I mean, the only time we made contact was when she was either physically touching me in some way or another, usually violent in that particular instance, or, you know, I was trying to get out of her way and she was trying to shove past me or something. So she sat there, closed her eyes, and I was like, well, if you're just going to sit there with the lights on, I'm not going to waste electricity. So I started to smoke a cigarette in the bedroom to chain smoke her ass out. She didn't smoke. She started opening the windows. I'd go back behind her and I'd close them. Finally, she had enough of this and got mad and got up and just started tearing shit up, throwing shit. She tore up books. She tore pictures off of the walls, smashed them. She threw the computer tower down the stairs into the basement. It survived. Ha ha, I got the computer. She tried to throw the printer out the damn window, and I took it from her. I actually grabbed the printer from her, and that was when she fell back and she hit her hand on the desk and got a little bruise. At that point, I knew right then that was it. If she called the cops, I was done. I was toast. And at that point, I was pretty much helpless. I mean, and I think she knew it, because it just got worse after that. She started finding some of my shit to tear up. She tore up quite a few of my books. There were like certification plaques and stuff that we had on the walls, and she started trying to tear that stuff up. What else was there? She got into the kitchen and got over to the knife block. Yeah, at one point she got over to the knife block, and I'm pretty sure she pulled out a knife and wasn't in so much of a manner of making a threatening gesture, but she had that "I'm fucking crazy, I'll do any fucking thing" look on her face. And yeah, I wasn't real sure. And before it was all said and done, she had threatened to kill herself by taking some kind of pills. I don't know if she was lying or if she was telling the truth. So I called 911. I was like, I need an ambulance. My wife is threatening to take her life with pills. And cops arrived. I was outside. I'd already been outside for who knows how long. And I texted one of my friends. I was like, shit's going crazy. I said, I need you over here now. And they showed up about time, a minute or two after the cops showed up. And, I started telling the cops my side of the story. She was belligerent as hell. I was like, man, she's been trying to beat me up and shit. I said, I had not touched her. And he's like, do you got any marks on you? I said, probably not. Tough as I am. Not always the gift, I suppose. But he shined his damn flashlight on me, and he couldn't see a fucking mark on me. So, like, you're going to jail. I said, yeah, I know I'm going to jail. So I gave my wallet and stuff to my friend that was there, and I think I left my cell phone in the bed of the truck or something other. And luckily she didn't get it. So calls were made, people were notified, and go ahead. Shit started happening. So I sat there in jail for 4 days, and on the 4th day, my brother and the landlord came and bailed me out. And I was like, alright, I'm hungry. Jail food sucks. Beat somebody to death with a damn cornbread. Sharpen the sausage and have a damn shank. A shank frank. Oh, let's see. So we went to Subway and I got some food, and we sat there and we talked about it for a minute and everything. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go get enough stuff to go stay with a friend for about a week and go from there. So we all three piled up in the vehicles and headed that way, and I let the soon-to-be ex-wife know that I was coming by to get some shit. And she was just being a bitch that day. I don't know what the hell was up with her fucking ass. Of course, she may not have either. Anyway, so we got there. Told my brother that, you know, if there were any guns in the house, that he would have to confiscate them and get, you know, take care of it. And there was a .336 Marlin rifle with a pretty nice scope on it. I don't remember what kind of scope it was, but I mean, it wasn't fancy or nothing. But we had, he had gifted that to me, and there was a pistol that he had gifted to her, and the pistol was still there, but the rifle had disappeared. I don't know. I still don't know what happened to it. She probably pawned it or something. Hell, I don't know. But in the midst of me trying to get some of my shit, the landlord was there, and I guess the ex was going to talk some shit, and before it was all said and done, they'd gotten into a fight pretty much and was wrestling on the ground. There was scratches and stuff on each other. Fucking mess. Cops was called again for the umpteenth fucking time, and they got there, evaluated the situation, and they talked to the two individuals, and they said, look, you can do one of two things. Either you can get in your vehicle and you can leave, y'all can go your separate damn ways, or and press charges against each other on your own terms, or we can take you both to jail right now. Well, landlord said, you know, hey, I got no business here, I'm out. Got no truck, gone. So I was like, all right, we'll catch up with you later. So I got the rest of my shit, and I told the cops, I said, I'm just getting my stuff so I can leave for a week. Like, all right. So I left for a week, and while I was gone, she had a restraining order with the Family Violence Act taken against me. Hang on a minute. Dog, open the door. Yeah, the Family Violence Act thing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last time I have been to jail as of this video. I do not make any plans at any time to go to jail again, or prison, or any kind of incarceration to that fact, if I can help it. Video camera is wonky. Let me adjust. Stay with me. Still there, yep. Okay. Good deal. So, alright. Now, at this point in my life, I think this makes the umpteenth. I think I have been to jail more than 10 times in my lifetime. I've gotten my fair share of speeding tickets. Been in over half dozen accidents in vehicles. One of them pretty freaking recent, actually, and this one was not my fault. And, which I don't think most of them were my fault. There was only probably one or two that were my fault. And that was because I was young and stupid and inexperienced driver. Because I was not. I'll get into that. Because of choices that were made that were out of my control. So I've been to jail quite a bit. I don't give a damn if you think I'm a bad guy or if you think I'm a good guy. Um, I usually don't hold a grudge. If I'm holding a grudge against you, it's probably for a good fucking reason. But anyway, moving on past that, uh, she had taken out a restraining order against me. Now, what this means is we had to go to court. The court would say, all right, this is what's going to happen. You're going to stay this far away from each other. You live here, you live here. She had to stay in her apartment. I got the house. So she had to leave the house. And that's when I came back after about a week. She had taken quite a bit of stuff whenever she found out that she had to leave the house. It's just stuff. I mean, I don't think there was anything that wasn't replaceable that she took. Whatever. I sold most of the rest of the shit before I left anyway. I didn't really take a whole lot. Didn't need it. Tried to get rid of everything I didn't need, which was a lot. So, anyway, we got a restraining order, which actually was a blessing in disguise because she couldn't come near me and harass me anymore. And that's all I wanted was her to fucking stay away from me. Get the fuck away from me, bitch. Leave me the fuck alone forever. I don't want to even know you exist. That was fine with me. But it still wasn't over because we were still married. So I did everything I possibly could to conjure up as much money as I possibly could, and the landlord friend helped me out with the rest of it, and I worked off a lot of it. And before it was all said and done, the female lawyer that I had hired to get rid of my marriage and make it go away, it cost me $6,500, and it was worth every penny. I probably would have paid more if I could, if I had to. I wouldn't have cared. It's still been worth it. So they let her in the process of the divorce, and she actually got 2 chances to get some stuff once it was decided that I was getting the house. She wanted to get that pool table that she got from her family. And first time she came with the cops, and she brought this little rinky-dink truck that it's possible they could have got it in there, but the help that she brought it wasn't happening. They didn't have enough mass. Put it to you that way. And so that was a fail there. Ha. And then in the process of the divorce, she tried to get the pool table out of me again. I flat out told her no. I ended up having to pay her $3,000 cash money through the lawyer to shut her the fuck up. I'd gladly do it again. So Uh, at this point, by the time the divorce was final, I had gotten another union job, and it was at a nuclear plant. Not going to go into details. Don't even ask. Uh, if you have been listening to this video, I don't want to go to fucking jail again. Besides, I don't fucking know anything anyway. I was just I was a outcast there, just like I was everywhere else in the union. I didn't fit in anywhere. I was good at what I did, and would occasionally find, a couple cool guys to hang out with every now and again. But I mean, the jobs don't last forever. So anyway, I was working a pretty good union job, making pretty good money, and my current girlfriend called me up from Virginia. My current girlfriend that I'm with right now. She called me up out of the blue and says, hey, check it out. I've got a truck just like yours. Sure enough, she had a truck, just a different color, just like mine. Thought that was pretty neat. And we hadn't talked in like 5 years. Pretty much the whole time I had been married. And we started catching up, and I started catching her up on details and everything. And she's like, well, what are you going to do? I was like, well, I'm going to see what happens. I might try to pay off the house, We started talking about options and everything, and she's like, let's go have a beer or something other. And I was like, well, hell yeah, you're only 10 hours away, or a 3-hour flight, depending on how you look at it. Like I said, I was making pretty decent money, so, on occasion I would take 2 or 3 days off on a weekend, and I'd fly up there to see her, or fly her down to here to see me. We'd hang out. And so we decided, why don't you try to find union work up here and just hang out permanently up here in Virginia? I was like, huh, I kind of like that idea. So I started talking to my union guys. I was like, what kind of process do I need to go and do? So they started trying to tell me the process and this and that and the other. And away we went. I had somebody watching over the house for me, and I decided that I was going to pursue union work up here in Virginia, specifically in the Norfolk, Richmond, D.C. area. Should be quite a bit of work up here, I thought. Granted, there are quite a bit of people, but, the bulk of them are military or families because of this area. Okay. So, union jobs, if you're a pretty good craftsman, you should be pretty easy, right? Well, I made plans, gathered up, enough stuff to move up here for, a few months to see what happens, see if I could get a decent job, and picked up my travel card like I was supposed to, and apparently I never signed up on the out of work list. Remember that, it's important. Picked up my travel card, come up here. One month went by, nothing. Okay. Another month went by, nothing. I can't do this. In the middle of that second month, I was like, I gotta find something else to do just to keep me fucking busy. So I'm gonna run out of money soon if I don't. So I started finding work up here. Just something to kind of piddle with, you know. I just, picked up little handyman jobs. Just small stuff, mostly residential. Um, sure enough, 6 months went by, nothing. Not a fucking thing. And I tried to keep in touch with them. And one of the last times I talked to them, one of the bigwigs told me, he says, you don't have to call up here all the time. You know, if something comes up, I'll give you a call. Out of sight, out of mind, I suppose. He seemed like a nice guy. Anyway, they are human, I suppose. So I found some work up here. Man, my ass is getting cold. Whew. Found work up here, and so I decided, I was like, you know what? If I'm going to be working up here like this, I really need to go back home and get a bunch of tools. Check on the house, etc. And meet up with the union guys face to face. See what's going on. I did just that. And I don't know. Don't know why. Maybe it didn't come up or something other. But at this point, I think I should have signed up on the out of work list. But actually, I think I tried to sign up on the out of work list, but I didn't have something. I can't remember what it was. I was supposed to have some kind of something, and I was like, shit, that's up in fucking Virginia. I was like, I don't have that. Or else it could have been something that got lost in the midst of divorce and shit. I don't know. But anyway, let me check up here, see if there's anything I missed. Kind of just want to make sure. Good God, these gloves suck. So when I left Georgia and come up here, I had my van paid off. My blue truck had been paid off 3 times over by now. Got a travel card. I moved up to Virginia. No union work, side work. And during the course of being up here in that first little bit, I stumbled upon a documentary series that has changed my perspective on a few things, and I'll get into those perspectives in a later video, and we'll go from there. Went back to Georgia. I turned my travel card in, and I thought I had squared away the thing with the out of work list, but apparently I hadn't. I don't know what the deal was. I eventually ran out of money, and I had to quit paying on the house, and I had to let it go. So I decided to make one more trip back, get everything that I possibly could, and walk away from everything that I had built in that life, in that house. I had to walk away from all of it. I mean, if you want me to shit out gold bricks, tell me how to do it. Wasn't getting no help from the union, and what little bit of work I was picking up was paying my cell phone bill and insurance on the vehicles, food on the table, you know, the utilities I was helping out with over here, gas in the vehicles. I mean, you know, shit, the little shit that nickel and dimes you to fucking death. It did. I mean, it nickel and dime me to financial death. Life was going great. One person to destroy everything that I had a hand in building in the last however long it was. That was 2015. May of 2015 was whenever I moved up here to Virginia and started my transition to try to make my way up here. Still no union work. Turned in my travel card, out of work list. Lost the house. Got everything I possibly could. And came back to Virginia. Still waiting on the union. That was late 2016 whenever I did that. Loaded up my shit, came to Virginia. House was auctioned off, foreclosure. Somebody flipped it, sold it for twice what it was probably worth. It's alright. No biggie. And I've decided that, you know, until further notice, Virginia is my home. Late 2016, still waiting on the union, picking up, you know, I hooked up with this one guy doing bathroom remodels. Learned a lot about doing tile work. A lot of shit I didn't know. There's still a lot of shit I don't know, but hey, I'm getting there, just like everybody else. Still trying to communicate with the union, still waiting on them to help me out and do something. Still paying my dues. Been out of work a year and a half at this point. Cold weather, 2016. Damn cold. Landlord wanted some work done. I was like, okay, you want this, and this done. Okay, take me a week and a half, 2 weeks maybe. Get her done. Okay. Went down there in 2 weeks, busted it out. When the inspector walked through, took him all of about 15 minutes to see the entire project. And nothing. No hiccups. No fix this. No add this here. You're good. See ya. It was beautiful. Almost as beautiful as the fucking scenery up there. Got pictures to prove all of it. Hell, the scenery was awesome. I took some great pictures. Took pictures of my work. I mean, somebody could, you know, an untrained eye could look at it and say that I'm a pipe artist. Some of it looked pretty damn good, though. I'll start putting pictures and slideshows and put them in my YouTube portfolio to let you guys see what I'm up to. Give y'all an idea of where I'm at in my life. Give you some visual. Kind of help you with that. So, it was super fucking cold up there too. Yeah, probably about 20s some nights. I was up there working. I logged 130 hours, plus or minus, on that job. Now, mind you, if you want to debate my craftsmanship versus what I feel like I should have charged, then you go right ahead. And I think you will lose. Between the tools that I burn up and she bought for me, she replaced the tools that I burn up, took it out of my pay. It's whatever. I mean, it happens. If I had to burn it up at the house, I would have had to pay for it anyway. She just fronted me the money to go ahead and get another one, and a better one into that. So, cool, you know. Between the tools that she replaced and the cash that she gave me at the end of the job after the inspector was done, and a little bit of money that she fronted me along and along, it equated out to $10 an hour. Now, after I had left, when she handed me the money, I was all packed up and I was ready to fucking go. I had to get back to Virginia. I had shit I had to do. I was in the middle of a big project I had to get back to. I had a bunch of other shit I had to take care of. I had a lot going on right then. And I didn't count the money. And she handed me a big old wad of cash. Looked nice to me. I stuck it in my pocket. I said, thank you. I'll see you. Good luck. Hope it goes well. I'm out. I stopped to get me some lunch. Did my calculations. Counted the money. Did my calculations again. Counted the money again. Checked my pockets. Make sure I wasn't missing any. I texted my friend. I was like, did you give me X amount of cash? She said, yeah. I said, well. I said, I'm very disappointed. I said, I'm not angry. I said, you chose to give me that amount of money. You know, and I'm pretty sure you saw how hard I worked on that and how much I tried to make that the quality of work that I wanted in my house. I'm not sure you understood that. In the conditions around me that I could get in my own house, if not better. That hurt. Maybe I didn't convey my feelings correctly, or maybe we should have been a little bit more technical on the financial terms, but at that moment, whenever I told her I was disappointed, edit that, I just caught that. At that moment, whenever I told the landlord that I was disappointed, I decided to dissolve the business relationship. I said, we can be friends. I said, you are an awesome friend, you know, but we can't do any more business. Sorry. It's life. I do try to keep my business and my friends separate now because of that. Sometimes you gotta learn the hard way, I suppose. So, early 2017, still working with the bathroom remodel guy. Uh, Learning a lot. Bowed my neck. Watched him. Just like the damn last 5 years I had been doing with the journeyman. Bow your neck, watch them. See what they're doing. Learn what they're doing. Listen to what they're trying to teach you if they're trying to teach you. If they're not, you need to find somebody that will. If they're not going to teach you. I would ask questions though. You know, try to figure it out first, and if you still don't understand it, then you ask a question. Improving my overall skill sets. I've done all kind of stuff. There's another handyman service up in this area that I picked up a few jobs from here and there. 150 or so, maybe, I don't know. That sounds like a lot, but it wasn't. It was like, you know, the service where you have a minimum hour or 2 hour and you just go fix who knows what kind of stuff. It could be something as simple as changing a light bulb. But I branched out and I tackled a whole bunch of different projects with that particular company. And while I've been up here, I've been making my YouTube videos. Yeah, that's a whole new thing for me. I've never done this before. You know, making a series like this. And truthfully, it's turned out better than I expected. If it's not up to your expectations, then sorry. It's my videos, it's my story. I'll tell it how I want to. I've met quite a few interesting and cool people up here too. Made a few friends. I'm still doing some amazing handiwork up here. Tried some new foods. Tried some new types of social atmospheres. Had some interesting adventures. Got a bunch of other topics that I've been researching on, and hang on a second. Okay, I'll be more elaborate on those topics whenever I start those series. Just making sure my phone hadn't run out of memory again. Make sure it's still running. Pretty cold out here too, but getting into probably mid 2017. You know, I've got some hobbies that I'm starting. I want to build some fire projects. One of them is, you know, just a kiln that you could do, like, you know, crafty pottery type projects in or something, you know, maybe refrigerator magnets or something, you know, they'd make out of ceramic or whatever. I don't know, that's kind of my girlfriend's thing, but I want to build, you know, just a small forge to kind of manipulate some metal and get, you know, just a little bit of experience with it, just because. Help me understand some of my other projects a little bit more, I think. I want to try to start putting some projects into motion to alleviate some financial stress by, you know, one of them is I want to try to do some compost and you know, do a small garden, so that way we can get some fresh vegetables in there, and you know, try to eat a little bit healthier if we can. Uh, you know, maybe get a few solar panels set up, so that way if I've got some big projects, I can use the solar panels to charge up the batteries to, you know, work on my projects. Like a lot of my hand tools, I say my hand tools, my saws and my drills and stuff like that are of a particular brand, and they have rechargeable batteries. So why not use the sun instead of the electricity from the house to, you know, charge up batteries that I could use to charge a system to charge those batteries. And if I have to use, you know, something other here at the house, have it set up to where if a station needs electricity, like a welder, say, I don't know if I can get that much energy, but we'll see. But you know, like maybe a table saw, you know, have enough to do that with. I haven't done enough research on that, but you know, it's stuff like that I don't want to incur any extra cost on hobbies. Hobbies cost you money. If you can figure out how to make your hobby free, you're golden, baby. Whatever comes along to, you know, help out, you know. There was a dead tree in the yard. I cut the tree down, and I used that tree to make some borders over here with the big pine stump that I'm digging up and getting rid of. So there, it's holding in the dirt right now. So, you know, I'm trying to be resourceful, not trying to be wasteful. It's a slow process. Yeah, I mean, I took some old fence panels from a handyman project, a demolition project for a customer, and I made a table out of it with a couple of 4x4s that I got from, I want to say that same project, because I used 4x4s, cut tops off of them. They had them cemented in the ground, and I think some of the cement I've busted up from that same project and put in the holes in the driveway. So, doing what I can, folks. I'm beginning to understand how a lot more things work as far as the construction field goes, you know. It's pretty neat. I kind of dig it. So, alright, let's get you up to date from Halloween. Around Halloween is, this past Halloween was first anniversary of one of my girlfriend's dogs passing. Still kind of fresh, guys, and I've known that dog. She's had that dog almost as long as she's known me, and I knew that dog when the dog was a lot younger, and so, you know, there's a little bit of emotional attachment there for me too, guys. Yeah, Halloween was kind of an emotional time for a lot of reasons. Thanksgiving's come and went. You know, we hadn't really done a whole lot. You know, just kind of hunker down in for the winter, and you know, I had a bunch of projects that I finished up, and Murphy decided he was going to knock on the door. Guess what he says? your car's computer brain thing that controls a lot of shit in your car is malfunctioning and you need to replace it. Oh my fucking God. Really? So between that and a few other things wrong with the car, my girlfriend's car, we ended up shelling out a shitload of money that, you know, we had saved up that we were just going to kind of hang on to in case of an emergency. Jesus, could you give us a little bit to enjoy the smell of the fucking money before you take it away, emergency? Murphy? Asshole. Yep. So, yeah, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I'm pretty sure we were trying to recover from that. And, you know, I picked up a little bit of stuff, just kind of, you know, pudding through the holidays, seeing what's going to happen, you know, picking up a little bit of loose ends and stuff. And be damned if I wasn't in her truck, the one that she first called me and says, hey, look, I've got a truck just like yours. I was in her truck on a call, you know, just doing a few things, and I'd be damned if somebody didn't run into me and wrecked the ass end of it. Murphy, you're an asshole. It's alright though. We're taking my blue truck and making it pristine-ish from the parts from the black truck that we can salvage. And hey, she has good insurance. Wasn't my fault, nothing I can fucking do about it. So that's kind of up to date there. The van is still a yard ornament. Still in pretty decent condition too. So probably about a week or two ago, the Union Hall calls me. One of the secretaries in the front. She's like, you know, we got a letter returned to us. You know, we want to confirm that you had the right address, and that was the message that I got. And so I was like, I haven't talked to these people in quite some time. Probably, oh, I don't know, 6 months or so. Maybe 7 months. Now, mind you, what they wanted to talk to me about was they got a letter back saying that I was 6 months behind on my dues. At this point, right now, in December the 28th, I have not paid 6 months worth of my dues. And that's pretty much because I haven't had the extra money. Everything minus, well, I'd say about 90% of the money that I had saved up went to fixing the car. Now you might think, why'd you do that? Well, it's the girlfriend's car. She commutes to work. That car gets fan-fucking-tastic gas mileage. So, it gets almost double the gas mileage of any other vehicle sitting in our possession. So I decided, yeah, we can still get a few more years out of it. Go ahead and fix it. So my savings is wiped out. I've got nothing. What little bit I've got, you know, is in flux, or going to be used to pay my phone bill or something to that effect, so that I can keep in communication with these fuckers if they decide to call me, which they did. Oh, guess what? You haven't paid your shit in 6 months. Hey, we need to talk to you because we got mail returned to us. What's your new address? Pretty sure my address is on file. I've told you fuckers. I've updated you. No. So I called them back. I was like, what's going on? We're getting some returned mail. I was like, sorry to hear that, but I just want to go ahead and let you know that it just doesn't matter because I've decided that I want to go ahead and separate from the union. I was like, before it was all said and done with, I talked to at least 3 different people. And last guy I talked to was actually the dispatcher that sent the union workers out to the jobs. And he was a nice guy. He just got into the position a few months earlier, and for some reason or another, he didn't know about me. Out of sight, out of mind, right? Still going good. Okay. So I got him up to speed-ish, and, you know, told him that, look, man, I've been out of work for 2.5 years, since May of 2015. I said, for 2 of those years, I paid my dues for a service that I was not getting. That's like paying for cable and not having a TV, or a phone, or a tablet, or any other form of watching it. Just paying for cable for no fucking reason. I couldn't justify paying for a service that I was not getting. I told him, I was like, dude, I said, it's nothing against you, but I just can't do it anymore. I said, tell you what, I said, let me sleep on it. I said, and I'll call you back with my decision. So I was going to call him back the next day, and I didn't have time. I ran out of time before I called him back, and they were already closed. So I called him back the following morning. So I slept on it 2 nights. Still felt the same, that I wanted to separate from the union, and I told him as much. And I said, dude, I said, the amount of money that would catch up my 6 months past due, plus all your fees that you're fixing to incur on me because of your rules, you want it all paid up in one lump sum before the end of the year, right? He's like, yep, that's how it is. I said, there's no way I can get you that money. Not unless I borrow it, and I'm never, no. My credit's shot. I haven't worked in 2.5 fucking years. Who's going to lend me money? Yeah, that's what I thought. So I told him, I was like, man, I said, I can't justify paying for a service I'm not getting. He's like, I get it. So as of close of business tomorrow, Friday, December the 29th, I will be expelled from the program. And unless I make good with the union, there's a very, very good chance I will never be working with the union again. I'll have to make right with them. I wanted to leave with a 0 balance, but well, guess I'm not going to be able to do that. It's business. I'm not going to lose any more sleep over it. Alright, ladies and germs, break time's over. It's about time to wrap this thing up. It's cold out here. Let's see. What else do you need to be caught up on? The end of 2017, when I started this particular video, I had gotten out of the Navy and was transitioning into a new house that I had just bought. So that's almost 10 years ago. At this point, 10 years ago, I would have been getting out of the Navy in a couple months. A lot's happened in the last 10 years. Got out of the Navy, moved from Virginia down to Georgia, joined the Union, got married, bought a house, got divorced, lost a house, foster kids came and went. Lost about 80 to 85% of everything that I had accumulated. A lot happened in the last 10 years. Yeah. Sure did. I'm happy up here though. I feel like I'm a better man for my experiences. I can learn something from it. Good, bad, or otherwise. And I can choose to better my life, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make my life better. And I'm going to make all the people's lives around me better to the best of my ability. I think you might understand that later on whenever I get a few more videos made up. It's still damn cold out here. I'm gonna leave you this, guys. At this point in my life, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and just completely wipe the slate clean of my concept of reality, and I'm gonna start over. It's almost the new year. What better time? I got a lot of work to do. Take a little bit of time to do it. Hell, I ain't got nothing but time now. This is going to be my last video in 2017 of the Who is Poo Guru series. This has got you up to date. If you feel like I'm missing something, get a hold of me somehow or another. Even if it ain't nothing but leaving it in the comments. But something major happens, you know, I'll probably do an update every now and again on what's going on with me. But things are fixing to get different. The person you see now before you is a whole different person than when I started these videos. I've had time to process some stuff. And if you knew me at any point before I made these videos, that person I think is gone now. I think I'm just going to leave it there. Poo Guru out.